Morning, everyone. All right, let's quickly go over last night's results, and then we'll focus a bit more on the main event. So, win for Jez Smith over Ben Ryden's. A bit of an upset, this one, by the way. Just because, obviously, Ben Ryden's undefeated. Jez Smith was coming off two knockout defeats back to back. So, yeah, this wasn't expected. But in the end, Jez Smith won that comfortably. Literally won it comfortably. Won every round. So, yeah, a bit of an upset. And let's see what happens with Ben Ryden. Let's see, right? Because when you lose this early in your career, it can go one or two ways, right? It can motivate you to get better, or you can just say, you know what? Yeah, basically. So let's see what happens anyway. Alan Babbage beat Tom Little. Alan Babbage is a character, right? Credit to him. He's making a name for himself. I don't know how high his ceiling is, but he's making a name for himself. He's going to be put on cards because he sells cards. He knows how to promote himself, which is key here. And he comes to fight. Was a bit heavier this time as well. A lot of people have said he's far too small for heavyweight, me included. But he came in a bit heavier and got rid of Tom Little. Stopped him in the third round. Yes, I'm trying to think of an opponent for Babbage over here, which makes sense. Obviously, the one that everyone was asking for is a guy that's now retired, and that's Dave Allen. That's the one, right? I still wonder if Dave Allen will come back, by the way, but that's the one. Apart from that, I don't know. Some people have said David Price, maybe. David Price, a very, very big heavyweight, though, for Alan Babbage. So we'll see. That'll be a bit of a test for Alan Babbage because David Price can box as well. He can box and he's big and everyone knows about the punch power. So that'll be interesting. But look, credit to Alan Babbage. Again, I'd never heard of Babbage before he was mentioned as a sparring partner for Dillian White. And now all of a sudden, he's been on what? Is it 3 or 4 of Eddie's recent cards? I think it's 3. So good luck and let's see what happens next for him. Liam Davis got the win over Sean Cairns. That was for the vacant English bantamweight title. Good luck to him. Fabio Wardley versus Richard Lartey. This was an interesting fight. Credit to Wardley. So anything I say now, I'm not discrediting Wardley. I like Wardley, great guy, and seems like a very good prospect. I thought he was undersized for heavyweight. I got it completely wrong. Hands up. He's got a good frame. It's just because sometimes when you see all these muscle-bound heavyweights, he isn't that, but he's very tall, and he is a big guy. I think he weighed in at 230 pounds, so he's a big guy. Lartey, I'm not honest. I think this could be the last time we see Lartey. Like obviously he's been used over here for Dubois, for Gorman, and now for Wardley. I think this is the last time we see him. The performances have got worse, completely worse. He's talking more, but now the performances have got worse. Whereas I think with Dubois, he came over as an unknown. We didn't know who he was. He didn't really talk, but he put in a good performance. Remember, he went toe-to-toe with Dubois a couple of times. And that's the Lartey you wanted to see against Gorman, and certainly the Lartey you wanted to see against Wardley. We didn't see that. He took about a year to get into the ring. He was chirping before the fight and then just laid down, basically. I don't even know if that punch really did. Look, who am I? I wasn't ringside, and I'm guessing someone ringside would tell me, no, it was a thudding punch. But it didn't even seem like the punch that put him down actually did anything. Yeah, I'm going to say it. It's almost like he quit. He quit and decided, nah, don't fancy it. I'm getting paid the same amount regardless. That's my attitude. I'm getting paid, whatever he's getting paid, 10 grand, 15 grand, whatever. And doesn't matter if I go all the way, right, all the way to 10, or if I lay down now. But what he doesn't know is that they won't use him again. And there are some good prospects over here where his name could be used. If he were to go 6 or 7 with Wardley and cause him problems, he'll be used again. Just like the way he was used for Gorman based on the performance he put in against Dubois. Now, though, it's like we ain't using him again. Because, again, a lot of people are talking about how the way he got knocked down looks suspect. And again, that's not Wardley's fault. It's just Lartey just looked awful. And I'm super disappointed because I thought the Lartey that fought Dubois would turn up this time, and he just didn't. And it was just, I'm not happy with that at all. But that's nothing against Wardley. Good win for Wardley. Let's see what next now. Wardley's what, 10-0 or 9-0? We'll see. I'm not quite sure Not sure who's the British champion, you know. I should know that. Who's the British champion? Because it would have been Dubois, but Dubois has definitely vacated that belt now. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what names are next for him. Again, hate to say it, but Dave Allen's the perfect kind of name for these guys. Because the next step up, when you think of sort of, in your head, when you think of the British rankings, because David Price is a step up. I don't know what's going on with David Price, and I think David Price could just be it's a risky one for Wardley. That's a risky one. It's a good fight, but it's a risky one. Then after that, you then jump to like the Huey Furies, and he's off that, right? You got the Huey Furies of the world, and obviously Chisora's he's away from that. So they might have to go out into the Commonwealth and look for opponents, or do we do European matchups with sort of faded guys? Like the way, and look, I don't think Wardley should go for a Maris Vac here. I really don't, especially after watching Vac against Chisora. Against Dillian White. But those type of opponents for Wardley, they're out there. It's just a case of finding them, but being very, very careful with the matchmaking. Talking about smart matchmaking, it was very smart matchmaking for Conor Benn versus Sebastian Formella. Very smart matchmaking, just because of Formella coming off the performance against Sean Porter. I say performance, it didn't really perform, but coming off the fight against Sean Porter. So there was that link, and obviously, look, we heard that link 1,000 times during the broadcast. Sean Porter, Sean Porter, Sean Porter. To the point where Sean Porter must have seen his name trending over Twitter and must have thought, what's going on? Why is my name trending, right? His name was trending over Twitter more than when Sean Porter fought Sebastian Formella, you know? But let's not take anything away from the performance of Conor Benn. I think Conor Benn won every single round. I say that, but there was a round which I would have... I think there was a round where they shared it. Apart from that, he won everything. You really could have been 190. It could have been that bad, that wide. But there was a round which I gave it as an equal round. He got tagged, you know. Conor Benn got tagged once, clean, yeah. And he was quite smart. If you're watching it at home, you might not have picked it up, but he got tagged on the chin, and he kind of wobbled. But then he done his little, so it didn't look like he was wobbling. It looked like he was just doing that, but he got wobbled. He's got to be careful. His chin was out there to be caught yesterday. It's just that Sebastian Formella just isn't a hard puncher. Just can't punch, right? He's got the most durable chin I've seen for anyone at 147 in years, but just can't tag. But again, smart matchmaking. Sebastian Formella, former IBO welterweight champion, has just fought Sean Porter, who most people have as a top 5, top 6 welterweight, went all the way with him, and then you put that guy in straight away with Conor Benn. It seemed like a risk from the outset, but I mean, they rarely take risks nowadays. It's calculated, very, very calculated. And all in all, it was a good performance from Conor Benn. He fights very much like his dad. Trust me, I'm the biggest fan of Nigel Benn. He doesn't move his head as much as Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn always used to bob and weave, and he's not as fast on his feet as Nigel, although Nigel was still quite crude. So there are some things that aren't similar, but the aggression is very similar. The hooks to the body are very similar. The jabs are very similar. And credit to Conor Benn. This is the hardest sport to learn on the job. This is what he's doing. He's learning on the job. He's got his father's name, so automatically the comparisons are made. He gets the Reebok deal. He's got the nice car and everyone's having a go at him like that's his fault. You know, I'm guilty of it as well. It's not his fault. He's learning on the job, and he's learning on the job in front of thousands, if not millions of people, and we're all here critiquing him. This guy has had, how many? I don't even know, a handful of amateur fights, and he's doing well. He is doing well. I love the fact that he's like, bring it on. Fight anyone. I love that. And people might talk about the idea of him not fighting Jenkins and Marku in Congo. Those are not big fights for him. Those are not big fights. He mentioned after that he wants Josh Kelly. That's the big fight. And that makes sense. Chris Congo, unfortunately, brings nothing to the table that makes it a big fight. Jenkins brings a British title. Yeah, if Ben wants that, fair dues. But he might be already looking past that, because Josh Kelly fights for the European title. Tough fight for Josh Kelly. But if Josh Kelly wins the European, then you've already gone past British. You've already gone past British. So we'll see what he does. He's only going to get better from here on in, if he listens to his trainer and he takes it in and he wants to get better, because he's learning on the job. But yesterday I thought was a fantastic performance. Gas tank looked good. I thought he started like a steam train, and I was thinking, all right, he's going to slow down now. But he didn't. He started like a steam train. He continued like a steam train. Obviously, it was a 10-rounder, and when you go to those champion fights, 11, 12, we'll see what he can do. When he fights someone that can tag him back, and that obviously takes your energy, right? We'll see what he can do. But a good performance against a world-ranked opponent. And I say world-ranked. Sebastian Formella hasn't really fought anyone of note, or one, sorry. The one that he has fought of note was Tulani Mbenge. And trust me, I was seeing Tulani Mbenge up close and personal when I was working in South Africa. There was a lot of hype about Tulani. Good fighter. Sebastian Formella beat him. Close fight, but he beat him. So there is some substance there. It isn't just the Sean Porter thing. There are some other fights. We might not know the opponents because they're not marquee names, but there are some other fights on that resume. So solid win for Conor Benn. Moves him up to 16-0. The biggest win of his career. And now it's just a case of who next. Because they do want to do the Josh Kelly fight. We all saw Eddie Hearn after say, obviously Josh Kelly's fighting Avanesian in January. So the idea is Conor Benn fights around February, March, and then they get Josh Kelly versus Conor Benn. Avanesian is tough for Josh Kelly. Like, my money would go on Avanesian. They're postponing that fight. It was almost like they want Avanesian to get old. But we'll see anyway. So, the idea is they do Josh Kelly versus Conor Benn in the summer. Eddie Hearn's already spoken about it being a blockbuster, so don't be shocked if that goes on the good old PPV. Don't be shocked. I don't think it will, but there's a good chance it goes on the undercard of a big PPV, or it could headline itself. It could headline itself. But well done to Conor Benn. I spoke to him on my show. He was nice enough to come in on I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I spoke to him and he was very positive. He was talking about the fact that, look, he had a good life in Australia, 6-7 bed mansion, he's fine. He isn't doing this for the money. He was all right. They were okay financially. He was doing this because he wants to prove that he can do it. And so far, he's ticking boxes, right? I think we can all say that he is ticking boxes. All right, I saw a bit of a hoo-ha about the announcement that Andy Ruiz, Pulev, get it right, Joshua versus Pulev will be on pay-per-view at $24.95. There was a lot of, oh my God, what? Kind of expected that. I will go in on a pay-per-view if I think it's, unfair. I kind of expected it to be $24.95. I really did. Just because it's behind closed doors and AJ normally sells 80 to 90,000 tickets. They have to make some money somewhere. Look, everyone's going to be taking a haircut. We know that. But they have to make it up somewhere. So I expected that to be honestly, I expected it to be $24.95. I really did. Again, I do go back to the American pay-per-views that are like what's Errol Spence Garcia? I'm guessing Errol Spence Garcia is about $70. And look, I don't know why I'm making a comparison. Well, I do know why. Because it's boxing. Like they're having a fight at $70 and AJ's having a fight as well, and it's 25 quid. I think the scary thing is that it is creeping up. But what can you do? What can you do? It was always going to be that price, people. It was always going to be that price. I know Eddie Hearn said the Ruiz Joshua, and this is the first time it was $24.95. Last year December was was a one-off, but it was always going to be that price because of the pandemic. It was always going to be that price. I heard the Fury Caballero thing is off because I think they were even considering chucking it up a bit more, and then they just scrapped it in the end. I thought Caballero Fury was off because of Wilder. No, I'm hearing it was because of finances. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess obviously everyone angry means most people are going to stream it. I get it. I understand it. But I expected it to be that price. I really did. Again, look, it's just a matter of time before AJ is a DAZN fighter anyway, and his fights aren't even on Sky Sports. That's what I think, personally. It's just a matter of time. And then it will be a lot cheaper. But for now, those are the prices, boy. Those are the prices. And again, compare it to what America do and some of their pay-per-view events. Their pay-per-view events are just scandalous. Prices are scandalous. I mean, they touch $100. $100. So what's that? What's $100? £80? Am I getting that right? Yeah. Think about that for a second. All right. Let's quickly go for some news. Errol Spence, second chance for me, and I can't let it go. I don't think he will let it go. I've seen some clips of Errol Spence in training, and he looked good. He looks good. He looks sharp. But Danny Garcia, I said this for years, has a laser of a right hand. I just don't think that's going to be enough to deter Errol Spence. He's hungry, especially after seeing Crawford put on that performance against Brook. He's ready. He's good to go. So, yeah, I'd be shocked if it isn't a Spence wide decision or maybe even a late stoppage. Garcia is very durable. I will say that. I've slept on Garcia a lot, but I think Spence is ready for this one. After the accident, after everything that's happened, I think he's just like, you know what? I've got a second chance there. Let's go. And I think he will go. Eddie Hearn here saying, Canelo fight coming at the perfect time for Callum's. We'll see. We'll see. We'll leave it as that. We'll see. I've already spoken about that. We'll speak about it more as the fight gets closer. No point in going into it now. Is there anything else? Anything else? Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce this weekend. I keep saying it just so everyone remembers, because it's going to be such a good fight. That is going to be a good fight. That's one of my fights of the year. I think it's going to be like, I've insinuated that both of them don't know how to sell a fight. You know, they're not WWE stars. This is not their job. Their job is to fight, and it's going to be a cracking fight. Honestly, that could go either way. Joe Joyce could clip Dubois in the first round. Dubois could easily send Joe Joyce into space in the first round. This is going to be a good one, and I can't wait to see it. I liked Dubois. Sam Jones must have said that they're making a mistake, that Daniel Dubois should have had a middle fight before fighting Joe Joyce. And Daniel Dubois says, this is my middle fight. It was a cheeky line. He's not great at speaking, but that was a good line. Respect the man. I am doing a watch along for Talk Sport. Me and Spencer Oliver, I believe, for the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones Jr. fight. So that should be fun. Looking forward to that. All right, anything else? Anything else before we go to... I'm about to say go to sleep. Before we kick on with the day. I think that is it. I think that is it, people. Yeah, that is it. All right, peace and love.